Hello and welcome to the special conversation here at San Jose State University in the School of Journalism and Mass Communications. I'm Destin Dorsey and I will be the host of this conversation. Let's meet our guests.
I'm Sara Sidner. I'm a national correspondent for CNN, also an international correspondent when I go overseas for the same company, and today marks 20 years in the news business.
Has there ever been a situation when you are just like, this is it, I don't know if I want to get out of here safely?
Yes. In an odd way, probably one of the most dangerous situations I was in the middle of downtown Bangkok in Thailand. And everyone's like, Thailand? It's a wonderful place. People are very polite. It's beautiful. All those things are true. But when it comes to politics, every few years, it blows up, literally blows up. And in one particular instance, my photographer and I were walking down the street trying to do interviews. And the guy to the left of me, it was actually a woman to the left of me was shot, and a man to the right of me was shot. Like, we were standing within a few feet of each. And at that point, I was like, we're next. Like, we are sitting ducks. And it turned out that there was someone in a building shooting down and just picking people off. So at that moment, my photographer and I said, we have got to get to a place of, we've got to get cover. We've got to take cover. He's like, no, we fight in the field like crazy people. I was just like, I don't care. Like, let's go. So we pulled back a little bit, but we stayed out there for a little while longer. And as the ambulances came and, people were being shot at in the street. I mean, on one side of the street, there's a nice place to eat, a place to go buy clothes, and another side of the street, somebody is dying. Like, someone has just been shot. It was a very surreal thing, and I think urban warfare is probably the most dangerous thing for anybody, but journalists can sometimes be targets for either side, whether it's the government or rebels or whether it's one group or another group, because they will use that to say that, oh, this side is targeting journalists. It's a thing to embarrass the other side. It doesn't matter who does it. If you're dead, you're dead. Like, who cares? So yes, there have been times when it's been really, really dicey.
I know in Ferguson, while you were reporting, you were actually hit with the rock, like on live television. In those types of situations and people are falling around you after being hit, what goes through your head? Like, how do you keep your composure while in front of the camera?
That's a good question. I think what happens to you, for some people, and this is just not journalists, this is just people in general, when you get into a car accident, for some people, everything slows down and you focus and everything feels like it's going really, really slow. And for other people, it speeds up and it feels insane and they can't control. For me, everything slows down. It is like things are going in slow motion. My focus is on what I'm doing, survival first, and then what I'm doing. And for some reason, that's just how I'm built. I don't know why that is. I have friends who think I am certifiably insane for keeping on and going out there and doing these stories. They just think I'm insane.
What does your family think, throughout all this process? Your husband, how do they handle all these situations?
They get abused, to be perfectly honest. I have canceled all kinds of things, births, funerals, weddings, birthdays. I've canceled trips that we were supposed to go on. My husband actually he was my boyfriend at the time. He had come up to India on that 9-month mark that I was telling you about, and he was there a day. He was extremely sick, and I had to leave him in the house and go to Mumbai, and he was in Delhi, a 3-hour flight away. So luckily I had a wonderful photographer whose family, thank God they were there, took him in, strangers, like he's sick and he's lying there, he has terrible stomach problems, and they were caring for him. And then, you know, I was like, you cannot come here. It's insane. You cannot come here. And he's like, how are you telling me that I can't come there and you're in danger? And what are you talking about? I was like, I don't want you to be in danger. And so it's a constant battle. It's a constant battle. And it is not fair to your spouse. It is not fair to your family. It is not fair to your parents, whoever. It is completely and utterly unfair and can be an extremely selfish business. Families of journalists put up with an incredible amount of frustration and fear, and I can't even name, but most of them are bad emotions about the business. They do, however, get to see things and understand things that maybe other people don't. They get to peer into sort of that life, but it's rough.
There was the event that happened at the community college in Oregon. How are those situations? How do you cover them as best you can?
You go in trying to get information. I mean, you're literally go in trying to understand what is happening. And you always hope that you come out having understood and having explained to the public what was going on there. I can tell you, and I'll tell you about, I'd love to hear what you guys think. So Twitter, right? This latest one, and Ferguson. A lot of it was driven, a lot of the meetings that would happen, a lot of the protests, I mean, it was all over social media, and that is part of how people galvanized and came together. And there were times when they were extremely angry at the media coverage. And sometimes I think they were right. Like sometimes I would look up and I'm like, well, I don't know if that's exactly fair. So, you know, when you go into these situations, you know that it's intense and that it's going to come at you and that you're going to be a target and that every word you say is going to be dissected. And indeed it is. So if you say protests were violent on this day, 1,000 people are coming after you. Say, how dare you say the protests are violent? If they are violent, I don't care which side you're on, I'm going to say it. Now, it could be that they were a reaction to something that the police did, which in this case happened. There were also days when it wasn't the police that were ginning things up by going overboard. It was that someone in the protest group decided to be violent and burn things down, and I'm going to report it. I've been criticized from both sides to this day. Both sides think I'm on the other side. Like both sides of the aisle, whether that was the police officer who's angry with the report or a protester, they both think that I'm on the side of someone. And it gets really frustrating sometimes.
Sure, yeah.
Going through all that. But the truth of the matter is that I'm still here. And I'm still telling stories. And I'm going to still be here and tell stories until 6 months from now I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to stay in the business. So it is that churn, and there is a churn, and there is a thing that goes on and on and on, and you feel like it's never going to end. And that's what I get for not wanting to be bored.
Regarding like the Malaysian airplane,
Yeah.
someone had commented to you and you had stated seeing the families break down in front of you is a painful thing, and we can't even begin to know the extent of their heartbreak. Yeah. How do you separate that?
I've stopped trying. I bring it home with me. I cry to my mother. I cry to my husband. I cry to my friends. I mean, you don't separate it. I tried to do it. You do compartmentalize, because I could lose it almost every single day of my life.
Exactly.
I mean, really.
I can't imagine.
While I'm working, would not be a crazy thought that I would just not be able to finish my work on a daily basis or a weekly basis.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. I think we had a great conversation, a great time, and we learned a lot, and I hope that you learned a lot, and I hope that you will join us once again here at San Jose State University in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. Thank you very much.